Today on the show, we'll talk Outlaws at Volusia, Lucas at Ocala, and we'll dive into just what a qualifying wing is on a sprint car. Let's go. It's Sunday, February 9th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. Late last week, the YouTube channel went over 40,000 subscribers, so a big thank you for that. We are now headed upward with the goal for the year being 50,000 subscribers by the year's end. If you haven't yet hit that subscribe button on any of the platforms you tune in, whether that's the podcast, whether that's the YouTube channel, and you like what we do here, maybe consider that. It helps out the show and will make sure you don't miss any future episodes, which include things like breaking news and content you won't find anywhere else. We're also pushing to get the Facebook page to 50,000 followers this year, sitting just shy of 28,000 at the moment. So if you're a Facebook person, check that out as well, facebook.com/DIRTRACKR. We'll start the Sunday show off with the World of Outlaws sprint car opener at Volusia for Dirt Car Nationals. Before we talk racing, an update on Bill Balog. He went for a nasty ride last night in the main event and did take a trip to the hospital. He was awake and alert when he left the track, but was dealing with an injured ankle. Just a little bit ago, it was shared to Facebook that Bill doesn't have any broken bones, just some, quote, soft tissue damage. Since the Outlaws don't race again for a few weeks, hopefully he'll have some time to rest and get himself ready to race again. I know a few folks pointed out that the floor pan got peeled off in that incident, but I have no idea if that contributed to his injury or not. Glad to hear Bill is okay, though. Going back to last week, Carson Macedo won the Outlaw Opener. That was a show-up points-only race. The rest of the weekend, though, was for full points. Entering the 4 nights of racing, Volusia, not previously a racetrack that Kyle Larson had won at, but it was clear he and Paul Silva were determined to leave with some Gator trophies. Third the first night behind Macedo, second on Thursday with the 57, just getting nipped at the line by Christopher Bell. They finally broke through Friday, leading all 25 laps, flipping that Thursday result with Bell second. And last night, it took Young Money just 5 laps to go fourth to the lead. He led the rest of the way on a rubber-down racetrack. Logan Schuchart ended up second with David Gravel in third. Larson, you're a week-long Big Gator champion on top of those race wins, so they are leaving with some Gators like they had hoped. And leaving the weekend, David Gravel, the de facto points leader. Actually, Larson is out front by 16, but, obviously Kyle Larson's not going to race full-time with the World of Outlaws this year, so it's going to fall to David Gravel. Logan Schuchart trails Gravel with Ryan Timms and Carson Macedo next. Gravel and Larson, the only drivers to finish top 5 all 4 nights, and Gravel, Larson, and Schuchart, the only top 10 runners all 4 nights. I felt bad for Emerson Axum on Thursday. He led with just 4 to go, but spun by himself in turn 4 and missed out on a shot at that first victory. Sometimes you got to lose a couple before you win one. He's definitely going to get an outlaw victory soon. There were some guys I was a bit surprised to see struggle. That included Gio Scelzi, whose best finish all weekend was 14th, and Sheldon Haudenschild just a single top 10 over the 4 nights. I thought Ryan Timms was solid, 3 top 10s in 4 races, and Danny Sams had some solid finishes, including his first career Outlaw top 10. He was in the main event all 4 nights. The Outlaws off now for about 3 weeks. They'll come back to Volusia in early March to coincide with Daytona Bike Week, and that kicks off a few weeks stretch through the South, and then they head into Texas. Sticking with the sprint cars for a bit, Kyle Larson and Paul Silva had some folks talking over their use of an unpainted top wing for qualifying at Volusia. The wing was stickered up, but just bare metal underneath. The 57 then utilizing their normal painted white wing for the rest of the night's program. Obviously, anything outwardly different that Paul Silva does is going to get attention, and this wing was certainly no different. If that wing was painted, I don't know that anybody notices this, and this probably doesn't even get discussed. But it is a good jumping off point to talk about qualifying wings. Silva not the only crew chief to use them, and wings are an area that provides some options depending on track types and conditions. A number of different cars in the field at Volusia had some different configurations of top wings, which include some things for drag reduction. And that included at various points through the weekend guys like Justin Peck and the Redeem 26, Logan Schuchart's 1S, and others. I'm going to use Larson's car as the example here, though, as I've got some good images to show differences. Understand right off the bat, I'm not an aero expert or sprint car crew chief. I did talk to a number of friends in the pit area who know this stuff way better than I do to get the information, so I'm passing on what I learned from them. Looking at things from Volusia, we're talking about 3 different areas of the wing. The first is the leading edge of the wing center foil, which is like the flat part of the wing, the thickness of that foil, what some call the wing belly, and then the placement of the sideboards. These first two photos of Larson's car, they're from my guy, Paul Arch. You can see the two different wings, obviously the qualifying wing on the left and the race wing on the right. And the first thing to notice is that right side sideboard. On the quali wing, you've got no wing supports on top, and it's actually mounted just a bit lower. You can kind of use that wicker bill as a bit of a reference. Notice the difference between the top and that wicker bill on both sides. It's obviously much shorter on the qualifying wing. The race wing mounted a bit higher with that sideboard, and it then has those wing supports on that side. Right sideboard mounted a bit lower, something we've seen from Don Kreitz's car for quite a few years. They actually run it all the time, though, not just in qualifying. The other set of images, I swiped these off the World of Outlaws Twitter account. Thanks, Alex Neaton, for these. Incredible angle to show you a couple of things here. They show a good view of the differences in that wing belly between the qualifying wing and the race wing. Notice the kind of shape difference there and how much thicker that belly is on the race wing. You can kind of see the difference between the bottom of the sideboard and then where that wing belly starts. A lot more gap there on the qualifying wing versus the race wing. I'm told the differences in that belly can help in qualifying because of clean air, and then when cars are in dirty air, that more pronounced and rounded bottom on the thicker belly is thought to be better. It definitely provides more drag, but likely also more grip, especially for helping keep the front of the car down. So you're going to have dirty air when you're racing. And then the last thing is that center foil leading edge. You saw this thinner version on a lot of cars at Volusia, not just Larson's car, a lot of different cars. Two different crew chiefs called these skinny nose wings. The other option here is something like with a larger radius, like you see here on Bill Rose's car. So Rose's car on the left, Larson's car on the right. You can see how different that radius is on that leading edge, much thicker, much rounder on Rose's car. All of these different options give teams some adjustability depending on track conditions. Like everything, though, it's not a magic bullet. You'll see some teams swap wings mid-program, like we saw Silva do. Others will keep the same configuration all night. Some will use different wings for different tracks, and others will just use the same wing all the time at every track. It really just depends on individual setups and preferences. I had one crew chief tell me years ago they tried a Don Kreitz style wing where that right side sideboard is very, very low, but that their driver came in after hot laps and said, "Take this thing off." It was never used again. So no conspiracies, no crazy theories, just guys working within the rules to find some adjustability. If you're curious, the Outlaw Rulebook does allow for all of this adjustability with sideboards, belly thickness, and that leading edge. Jumping over to the Lucas Oil Land Model Dirt Series at Ocala, their part of Speedweeks ended this weekend with 3 more nights of racing. Devin Moran and Jonathan Davenport won the 2 early shows going back to last Tuesday and Wednesday. Davenport continued his winning ways on Thursday, leading all 40 laps from the pole. He held off a last lap barrage from Brandon Overton. Overton, though, settled for second with Kyle Bronson third. Brandon Shepard did earn his first Lucas top 5 of the season in that one as well. The 50-lapper on Friday, it was all Ricky Thornton Jr. He paced all 50 laps, beat Hudson O'Neal and Devin Moran. Dalton Wilson, a very solid 24th to 8th in that one. And then last night, Moran closed out the Ocala week with a charge to the win from 7th. He took the lead from race-long leader Jonathan Davenport, lap 38, and drove away from there. JD second, pole sitter RTJ was third. So leaving Speedweeks with the worst races now dropped, Jonathan Davenport is your championship leader with 6 weeks until the next event. He's got 5 points on Devin Moran in second. Ricky Thornton Jr. is 15 back in third. And Brandon Overton has that final Lucas Chase spot. Dalton Wilson, Garrett Alberson, Tyler Erb, Hudson O'Neal, Max Blair, Brandon Shepard, they complete the Lucas top 10. O'Neal and Shepard already trail points leader Davenport by 200, and they're 90 back of Overton in fourth. Shepard had terrible luck last night after starting up front, 2 flat tires and a 17th place finish. A hat tip, though, to Ocala and their track prep guys all week. Keeping that place together for so many nights of racing was something that I think was on a lot of people's minds, but they came through with flying colors. Also good to see Freddie Carpenter was okay after that ugly heat race crash where he hit the spinning car of Ross Robinson. Freddie told Michael Rigsby that Ross's rear bumper was very close to hitting him in the head. Nasty damage to that C4 machine. When we start looking at some guys who could potentially flip sides depending on how Volusia goes this coming week, I'd have my eye on Drake Troutman, Jimmy Owens, and definitely Tim McCready. All are 14th or lower in the Lucas standings. Teams have today off, then racing starts Monday at Volusia. First 2 nights, they'll be joined by USAC sprint cars, and then it will be the Super Dirt Car Series the rest of the week. Other weekend winners included Stuart Friesen winning 3 of 4 short track Super Series races at Alltech. Matt Shepard won the other. Those guys obviously hit Volusia starting Wednesday, like I just said. Kurt Spalding won the UMP Modified Finale at Volusia and the week-long championship as well. Nice week to grab some gators. At Hendry County, Tyler Clem and Mark Smith split the USCS 360 Sprint Car wins. That series sticks around Florida for the next 2 weekends. And the first 2 wins in the history of the Southern Thunder Super Dirt Series went to Casey Roberts and Cody Overton. Roberts won the Winter Freeze opener at Screven on Friday, and Overton led all 50 laps last night for $15,000. He topped Ethan Dotson and Zach Mitchell in that one. Overton right now, the Outlaw points leader. He's got a crate win at Alltech and this $15,000 super win. Good time to be Cody Overton right now. All right, that's the show for today. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. If you're a football fan, hope you enjoy the Super Bowl out there, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll see you guys right back here tomorrow.